Well, that was a decent movie. Oh, hey everyone. I just got back from watching Silent Hill, a movie based off of one of my favorite gaming franchises. It was good, though it had some problems. But that's a video for another time. Anyway, it got me thinking, what would this Silent Hill movie be like as a video game? Well, fuck. I didn't want to do this. I really didn't want to do this. But it was Halloween. I missed the deadline, so scary video games. But this game is something else. Silent Hill is probably the best horror franchise in the history of gaming. Resident Evil isn't that bad, but I never really found it that horrifying. 7 might be an exception though. But I remember getting my PS1 and along with it a game by a little company called Konami, and Silent Hill scared me within 10 minutes of playing it. I mean, sure, it's dated a little.
My daughter.
I've gotta find her.
But that only adds to the fear factor in my opinion. Silent Hill 2 is a decent follow-up, being a great character study, and with the use of the Uncanny Valley, it can be,
I'm kind of lost.
Lost?
Yeah. Silent Hill 3, well, I'm ashamed to admit that I was scared so much that I haven't finished it. I will also admit that I haven't played the final Team Silent game, The Room.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
I think it looks quite interesting and I would pick it up.
If my game store carried it.
I did play Origins, the first American-developed Silent Hill game, and it's a game. It was developed by Climax Studios, who would later make Silent Hill Shattered Memories, a reimagining of the first game, on the Wii of all consoles. Then we finally got Silent Hill Downpour, a game that is honestly not that bad, but is reviled by the Silent Hill community because of some quote-unquote experts.
Turns out you have to go online just to find out what kind of genre this game falls into. Join convict Murphy Pendleton in Silent Hill, where fear and torment are inescapable.
I have also seen both Silent Hill movies and thoroughly enjoy both of them, and yes, I know Silent Hill Revelation is a horrible film and can admit its faults. Unlike Revelation, however, the first film is a pretty faithful adaptation to the games for the most part, and we all know what happened with PT, so let's move on before I have a brain aneurysm. Then we have this, Silent Hill Homecoming. Released in between Origins and Shattered Memories, Homecoming was developed by Double Helix and was their first game. Konami, what the fuck? It was released for PS4, Xbox 360, and PC, and is the only Silent Hill game not to be released in Japan. Oh god, that doesn't bode well. Now, I want to say that this is the first episode of... The title should be self-explanatory. I take a game, get all the completions and shit, and beat it 100%. Now, since I played the PC version, which didn't have achievement integration, I took the Xbox 360 achievements and used that as a guide. So everyone, get your steel pipes and turn down the lights. This is Silent Hill Homecoming. So this is another game where shit is fucked right off the bat. The controller is fucked in this. I had to reconfigure it every time I booted up the game. It was a fucking nightmare. Other than that, the main menu is decent. However, there are no separate puzzle difficulties. Shit. Also, why are the difficulties normal and hard? I don't know, I just don't get why games do this. Finally, we get to play the game, and this is Jacob's Ladder. No, really, they fucking ripped off Jacob's Ladder. See, the story of Jacob's Ladder was an inspiration for the first game, but they didn't fucking steal it. So as the doctor finally leaves us be and has a talk with the visitor, our first task is to get off of the operating table, And we do this by... You betrayed me. Also, this is not a one-time thing. Button mashing and QTEs are quite frequent in Silent Hill Homecoming. Because hey, Silent Hill wasn't a tense game before because it didn't need you to hammer on your controller. What's funny is, if you leave the controller alone, nothing happens. We aren't stabbed, we aren't operated on, just nothing. After getting out, we learn that we're Alex Shepard, a soldier who is here because... gameplay? We then go through the hospital to find our brother Joshua, who is behind a locked door. This is where we get our first puzzle. I don't really think I can call the game's puzzles though. It's basically get an item, use it. And they don't change in hard difficulty, so there's no need to worry about straining your brain either. After opening the door, we get a combat knife and see the first animated transition into the other world in the Silent Hill game. After then, we find our first enemy, and here's where the game really starts to fall apart. Number 1. They stole the sexy nurses. These nurses were meant for James Sutherland in Silent Hill 2, and were meant to symbolize his repressed sexuality when... Really? That game came out 16 years ago? I'm spoiling this game anyway. Fine. Anyway, if you look at all the other nurses in the series, they each have different designs or are absent because they aren't relevant to the character. I mean, there's a small subplot that Alex was in a hospital after being wounded in battle, but it's barely mentioned. Also, doesn't this nurse look a little different? In fact, it behaves different too, but I swear I've seen it before. Number 2. Silent Hill Homecoming is very action heavy. They practically make you use melee weapons since there's very little ammo in the game, and there's a fucking ammo cap. Also, your best weapon in the entire game? It's a fucking knife. All you need to do is aim, do 3 light attacks and 1 strong attack, and they're in a stun lock. Just don't let the nurses attack you. That could end poorly. And they specifically focused on this as a priority.
And they had like different kinds of attacks. I think that's great.
So do I.
Silent Hill combat was shitty. It always was.
It was meant to be shitty, you dumbass. That's what made it scary. You could use a gun and waste ammo, or you could use a melee weapon even though your character wasn't trained with that weapon. You weren't a badass. You were an ordinary person. Moving on. Getting further into the hospital, we find Joshua again, have a bullshit conversation, and go on a fetch quest to find his missing toy. However, when we give it to him, he runs away and... Well, alright then. There's nowhere to go but up. However, I shit you not, I did not see this elevator button or know you had to press it. There was no clear indication I had to, so I was thoroughly confused. But we finally get in the elevator and... Okay, I'm not mad that it was a dream. I'm mad because I just realized all of this is based off of the Silent Hill movie. Think about it. I mean, really think about it. The nurses are attracted to light, like in the movie. The otherworld transformation is flaky, like in the movie. And they even stole the elevator stabbing scene. That was in the movie. This doesn't give me much hope. Oh look, it's Travis Grady. Guys, it's something from the games. Turns out Travis is driving Alex home from his hospital stay. Right. Anyway, he takes us to... Wait, this isn't Silent Hill. No, Travis, we're rewinding. This is the wrong town. You'll be shocked to hear that the first 2/3 of the game takes place in Shepherd's Glen, a town located near Silent Hill. Shepherd's Glen is really fucking small, to be honest. There's not much to see, and well, I hope you like backtracking. See, I don't have too big of a grudge against backtracking if it's done well, like with Devil May Cry 4 and the Resident Evil remake. But that's because they spice it up a bit, like the maze in the forest for Dante and the Crimson Heads in the mansion. Silent Hill Homecoming doesn't do that. It's the same thing, except you occasionally can get a useless weapon. It's dumb and pointless. Heading to our house we meet, oh god, what the fuck, Double Helix? Yeah, for some reason I see so many people defending how this game looks, saying it's great for 2008. No! It's horrible! Like, the otherworld transitions, Alex, and most of the enemies look good, but everything else, oh my god. I mean, Alex's father looks like he's been airbrushed, Mayor Bartlett is melting, and... Do I even need to speak for this one? No? Okay. This game looks terrible on every platform. Dead Space came out the same year, only a month apart, and it looks 1,000 times better. For some reason, Judge Holloway and her daughter Elle look very doll-like. It's honestly the only creepy thing in the game because the other scares are ooga booga scares. After a brief talk with Judge Holloway that explains jack shit, we return home and get Joshua's flashlight. Oh yeah, there are also a lot of flashbacks in this game. Only like 2 matter though, so I honestly wonder why they're even here. Downstairs we find our mother in a near catatonic state, and she says she doesn't know where Alex's father or brother are.
And thus, we set off to find Joshua.
But first we need to fix the basement. After going through the graveyard where we find an old man digging up graves, we meet Elle. She's both happy and annoyed about seeing us since Alex left the town without saying goodbye. However, it turns out that more people than Josh and Alex's dad are missing, and Elle has been working with Deputy Wheeler to help. And here's where we get our walkie-talkie, which is supposed to serve as a radio for this game, but I honestly didn't really notice it since it isn't really blaring like previous Silent Hill games. After an enlightening conversation with the repairman Curtis, we get our first firearm for the game. Now, this game was already Americanized as it was, but just a reason for getting a fucking pistol is lame.
Soldiers gotta have a gun.
Now, the targeting system for the melee combat, albeit 10 times fucking worse, is pretty standard for a Silent Hill game. Use the right trigger to target, and the attack buttons to strike your foe. Although they added a useless dodge mechanic. But the gunplay is completely different. Instead of locking onto an enemy, you have free reign to target however you want. It's like they tried to copy Resident Evil 4 style of shooting but messed it up entirely. The targeting is way too slow to begin with, and shooting and reloading is just awkward in general. The guns don't even do that much except 2 of them, one of which I will be talking about later. You might as well skip using the guns though since ammo is hard to come by, once again unlike previous games, and there's a fucking ammo cap. An ammo cap in a Silent Hill game. Why would you even take the time to program that? After getting our pistol, we head back into the graveyard because it turns out that the man digging there was actually Mayor Bartlett, and it's time to get some answers. Speaking of which, I should talk about the dialogue in this game. While the premise is actually pretty decent, the things said in the game are pretty repetitive. I swear that 90% of the time Alex is on screen, it's asking about where his brother is. Silent Hill 1 had this problem too, don't get me wrong, but it was nowhere near as frequent. See this puzzle, kids? That's what all the puzzles are like. Seriously, it's either rewiring things or sliding stuff around. They aren't puzzles, they're just tedious. After unlocking a grave and finding a watch, Alex decides it's a great time to take a nap. However, when he wakes up, he's in Silent Hill, and I say Silent Hill because we barely get to explore Silent Hill. When we go into the hotel we woke up near, Alex sees Josh and runs after him. Just a sec, need the map. After rewiring the power back on and meeting these, we meet a mysterious woman who tells us to collect 3 memories for her. Now, this could have been cool if they threw in puzzles. No, actual puzzles, but they decided just to make it a fetch quest. Look everyone, it's fan service! After giving the memories back to the woman, she gives us a key that leads us to Josh. Of course, he's a little prick and doesn't save his brother begging for help. Okay, I'm sorry, and I know this is a video game, but I'm pretty sure that a fall that great would have at least broken your spine. On to the next room, we meet Mayor Bartlett and are given these conversation branches. They only matter once in the entire game, so not much to say. Just an illusion of choice. Alex gives the watch to Mayor Bartlett since it was a gift to his son Joey, who is missing as well. Then we meet our first boss. Okay, I might as well talk about Alex swearing, because it's so controversial. I don't really get what the big deal is about a video game character in an M-rated game saying Jesus Christ and fuck. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but that's very rare to be quite honest. And I think people just wanted to complain to complain. Ironically, most of the people I've seen complaining about it swore themselves. That's pretty hypocritical. Anyway, something cool about this game is actually the boss names. There are 4 bosses in the entire game. Technically 5, but he doesn't really count to be honest. And each of their names are representative about them. I'll explain about them more later since it's actually quite reliant on the story. Sepulcher is a relatively easy boss. The first phase is to take down these sacks that are hanging down to damage him enough to get him to drop from the ceiling. The second phase is to strike Sepulcher's arms to get him to fall so we can get a Back in Shepherd's Glen, we wake up in jail of all places and meet Deputy Wheeler, who along with Alex when he is in,
Where's Joshua?
is probably the best character in the game, and that's just because of his personality.
He's dead. Dead? Shit.
We're not going that way. Hey, nice work back there. When this is over, I'm by the first round and then the second.
However, gameplay-wise, Wheeler makes it a lot easier. And while that can be good because of how broken this game is, it doesn't really make you feel scared. After hearing L on a walkie-talkie, we end up getting separated due to
Even more fan service.
the police station is where you're introduced to schisms, and trust me, this is the only time you'll want to have bullets, because fighting them melee style is not a good. After saving L from a Siam, aka ripoff of Closer from Silent Hill 3, we descend into... Having sewer levels 1/3 into your game isn't a great decision, devs. This part of the game isn't really anything special, just a way to separate us from L and get us back home. Makes sense. Turns out Wheeler is still alive, and he tells us to go to Doc Fitch to see if he knows anything. And Doc Fitch is... Okay then. Fan service, how can we help you? This leads us into the third Otherworld segment, and you encounter like 1 monster, maybe 2. It's just to make things spooky, I guess.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight.
Where's Joshua?
At the end of this part, we find Doc Fitch, who is bleeding out the sin. Oh, is this some cult stuff?
Witch!
It turns out Scarlet is missing too, and, well, he's not handling it very well. We gave Doc Fitch a plastic doll we found at the beginning of the level, and then, oh god, that's fucking brutal. So now we fight Scarlet. And his artist name is Scarlet. That's probably only a coincidence. Scarlet is more annoying than easier, medium, or hard, or insert difficulty here. You have to break off her porcelain armor to weaken her, then... Her second phase is a more erratic spider-like phase, but all you need to do this time is stun lock her with a knife. After this, we're pulled into a pool of... I honestly can't call that blood. Half-Life 1 was more realistic. Waking back up in Scarlet's room, we get a key that reveals an underground tunnel system beneath Town Hall. Really? Inside of a large chamber, we find a ceremonial dagger, which is basically the knife, but it can unlock things. And I seriously wonder why Alex would remember how specific a doorknob is. I mean, that's not what I was paying attention to as a kid. I was watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in my pajamas while eating Kix. God, I'm old. Back in the house, we actually have an important flashback of Alex's dad giving Joshua a ring that he is supposed to keep secret. Child neglect is actually a big theme in Homecoming, and while the main focus on this is Alex, who is reportedly treated worse than the family dog, it also extends to Elle to a lesser extent. After solving We get a map of Silent Hill and a note from his father talking about Joshua and the Order, a cult from Silent Hill. When Alex talks to his mom about this, we get the meme-worthy gem of,
"You don't know anything about Silent Hill,"
and are ambushed by Snow White's 7 dwarfs.
Hi-ho, it's home from work week.
No, seriously though, these are just the cultists from the Silent Hill movie. This takes us to the Hell House, where we have to solve 4 puzzles to leave and get back to the Fog World. This is like the only area of the game where the puzzles were actually good. Although the mask puzzle is honestly a little too easy and the knife puzzle is just another fetch quest, I found the clock puzzle and the badge puzzle pretty cool. They required me to think a little. Oh, wait, the order of the badges is indented in the case? Never mind, you ruined it. Exiting the Hell House reunites us with shitty looking graphics and with Elle. Oh yay. Wheeler takes Alex and Elle to Silent Hill by boat, where we actually have some decent conversation.
Forget it. I should apologize. It's just this place brings back bad memories for me.
You know, I never understood why you left. And one day you were just gone.
Then Elle and Wheeler get kidnapped by the Order. I don't get why these guys don't kill Alex. He's obviously putting a dent in their plans, so why do they just leave him there? Finally, we can explore Silent Hill, or 1/8 of it because you can only go to like 3 places. Wheeler is able to communicate with us over radio and instructs us to shut the power off at the water and electricity plant and... oh, cultists are enemies? This is the first and only time humans in Silent Hill were common enemies, and thank God because it was dumb and not scary. After finally getting into Overlook Penitentiary, we managed to free Wheeler, who through the use of cameras helps us navigate our way to the prison basement. Here we have our first major decision: to kill our mother out of mercy, or to let her have a horrible, painful death. Then we get to go back to the other world, and it's pretty much that for the rest of the game, which is an awful idea. The other world is meant to give the player fear and be like, nope, I'm saving and quitting. Never mind, I'm a play. So having the rest of the game pretty much be in the other world takes away that fear. But anyway, Alex and Wheeler are reunited, and we find Judge Holloway, who is most likely evil, and Wheeler is taken again. Definitely evil. Asphyxia is odd to describe. She only has 1 phase and you only need to damage her enough so that you can choke her to death. Okay, that's actually a little messed up. But she is so much faster than Alex, and if you get caught by her, it's bun mashing central. After seeing Josh again, we're led to the Church of the Holy Way. This area is one huge fetch quest. We need to collect 5 plates to place onto an organ, which when done correctly, opens up a passageway. Now, when I was collecting the plates, I came across a conversation in a confessional booth, and honestly I didn't think it was too important, but it's actually the second big choice. Do you forgive Alex's father? The thing is, when we meet Sir Airbrush, the conversation is the same whether you forgive him or not, so it's horrifically unclear. Speaking of which, Alex's father reveals that Alex has been in a mental hospital and is in fact not a soldier. I don't really like this plot twist too much, and you'll see why later on, but I will admit that I do like the dog tag touch. Really cool, devs. You get a gold star. But I take it away because you bring more fan service in and had to make it that Alex was dumb enough to let Curtis notice his dog tags as he's about to confront the Order. When Alex wakes up, we meet Judge, Margaret Holloway, who explains what's going on. The town of Shepherd's Glen is an offshoot of the Order of Silent Hill. They wanted to leave the town, but in order to do so, they had to sacrifice one of every founder's children every 50 years. Kind of ironic considering that the motto of the town is, where family comes first. Anyway, turns out Alex's father didn't do that, and now everyone is paying for it. And this leads us to another controversial topic from the game, the infamous torture scene. You see, in Australia, 2 parts of the game were deemed a bit too violent for the public's eyes. They were the execution of Alex's father and the torture scene, particularly the deaths. It was considered so violent that it was compared to the hostile torture porn series. And I have to say, Really? Alex's death could be a tiny bit understandable, but it was a punishment for dying. And Judge Holloway? Yes. That's so violent. So we have a man being crushed by a giant hand, a man bleeding out profusely, and then his head getting ripped off, and this was the most violent for them? I can't really even joke here, it just baffles me. Also, this is a 5-minute long unskippable cutscene. I counted the minutes. So if I didn't survive the button mashing, I'd have to watch it all over again. Silent Hill Homecoming is weird with its cutscenes. Most of the FMV is skippable, but at odd times they'll decide to make it so that you can't skip. And of course, they choose the longest one that's right before possibly dying to be one of them. Anyway, after escaping from Judge Holloway, with our leg completely healed, I guess, we save Elle from Curtis and get our final big choice, which is to save Wheeler or not. Pulling out those knives would most certainly kill him. After this, we make our way to some graves, which have the names of the sacrificed children. This spurs up a flashback where Alex took Josh out boating one night, and being jealous over the family ring, the two get in a fight. Their father comes and retrieves Josh, but he's already dead. This sends Alex into a state of mental shock, believing he can save his brother, but he's already gone. And now there are so many plot holes. I mean, first off, the child only had to die by drowning, so did it not count as a sacrifice? Did it have to be forced drowning to count? Why couldn't the family still sacrifice Alex? How did Alex have military combat skills if he wasn't a soldier? Didn't no one look through military records to see if Alex was in the army? And if they did, and he was on there, how many strings did the Order need to pull for that? This is what separates Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill Homecoming's plot twists apart. Silent Hill 2's twists did have some problems, but it was handled in a much better way than Homecoming's was. This finally leads us to the final boss. Now, remember how I said that I liked the boss names? Well, here's what they mean. Sepulture, Joey Bartlett's boss form, is a synonym for grave. He died by being buried alive. Scarlet, well, I guess it could refer to blood. She died by dismemberment, so it's not too out of the question. Asphyxia, Nora Holloway's boss form, refers to her method of death, asphyxiation. And the final boss is a minion, which is Josh's boss form. Aminios means fetal sac, which could refer to him as being the baby brother, and its form is symbolic of spiders, which Josh liked. The body is supposed to be a pregnant version of their mom, but I honestly don't see it. A minion is surprisingly easy. I rarely died from the battle. All you need to do is stay close to the body and you're pretty much good. After defeating a minion, it's revealed that Josh was inside the body. Alex finally comes to terms with his brother's death, leaves his flashlight with him, and turns to leave. Now it's time for the 100% part of the review. Here we go! Based on your decisions when killing Alex's mom, forgiving his dad, and saving Wheeler, you will get one of 5 different endings. For the sake of this script and my sanity, I'll put the requirements to the side of the screen. The first and only ending that can be considered good is the smile ending. Alex leaves the church and meets with Elle, telling her he saw what he needed to. However, it's still foggy, so I wonder if this is like the Maria ending from Silent Hill 2, and Alex hasn't actually left the fog world. The first bad ending is drowning, where Alex wakes up in a bathtub full of water, where his father tells him that Josh will live on to carry the family legacy. Then he's fucking dunked in. I personally like to think that this is a canonical ending, but it's Silent Hill, so everyone has their own interpretation. The second bad ending is the Boogeyman ending. As punishment for all the bad things he's done, Alex awakens and becomes a Pyramid Head. This ending makes no sense at all and is pure fan service. The final bad ending is the hospital ending. Alex awakens on a medical table and, not believing anything that has happened, is administered an electric shock. Then there's the UFO ending, which plays out similar to the Smile ending, but instead of a happy reunitement, Alex and Elle are abducted by aliens. Wheeler then comes out and says,
"That's where they've been taking everybody. I knew it!"
This is the worst UFO ending in the Silent Hill franchise and can be gotten on the first playthrough. I would assume many players experience that. Reportedly, if you collect all Josh's photos scattered around the game or beat it on hard mode and get the smile ending, you'll unlock an extra cutscene. I did both of these endings and it didn't happen for me. I'm assuming it's not in the Windows version because I can't find the file anywhere on my computer. Getting a new ending will also get you a new costume for Alex each time. My personal favorites are the trucker and hospital costumes. The Pyramid Head one can make some moments funny. Also, sometimes the costumes carry over into the FMV and sometimes they don't. You can also unlock the young Alex costume by inputting up, up, down, down, left, right, space on the keyboard. Way to butcher my catchphrase. Beating the game once will unlock the circular saw, and getting the UFO ending will unlock the laser pistol. The circular saw is really only good for lurkers and sepulture, while the laser pistol will decimate everything, even beating bosses in seconds. I like how the pistol resembles the Konami Justifier light gun, referencing what system the series got its start on. And now I think it is time to give my final stance on Silent Hill Homecoming. Behind the HD collection, it's the worst Silent Hill game in the main series. Every time there's potential, they somehow find a way to ruin it. I mean, the puzzles are barely puzzles, the combat system is broken, the bosses are either annoying or easy, and for the most part, the game just looks awful. That being said, the setup was interesting, the voice acting was hit or miss, the music was pretty good, and the other world looked amazing in my opinion. Like, this is the first time we ever saw in a Silent Hill game. And they did it right. I feel like if the devs had stuck more to the game, focused more on the horror, and delayed it by a few months, the game would have been much better. However, the good does not save the bad, so my rating is to destroy it. And now to close our first complete the game episode, here are some of my favorite glitches from Silent Hill Homecoming. Hey everyone, I am so sorry that it took me so long to get another review out. I sincerely apologize. There's been quite a lot going on in my life, but I have good reasons for these. One is that school has started back up again, which gives me less time to work on reviews and crank them out. I was also feeling creatively drained for a while, and the one review I had footage for was accidentally deleted, which was such a bummer since with that game, I wouldn't be able to get the same feeling out of it a second time. With that said, if you enjoyed today's review, then mash that X button and up, down, left, right, B, A, and have an amazing day.